All right. Enough of this countdown stuff, right? Let's see if we can get started with today's session. It is Saturday, the day after midsummer celebration in Sweden, which means that I had a day off yesterday. Midsummer is one of the biggest bank holidays in Sweden. Well, holidays in Sweden. I'm coming down with a cold, so we're lucky we're not contagious over digital streams or meetups or stuff like that, so that's good. I'm kind of rested, not really. I stayed up really late. I actually streamed yesterday morning and did a little bit of coding at night. Could have streamed, but it wasn't that exciting, to be honest. So I didn't. Now, yesterday when I started my stream, I had a kind of ambitious agenda, not overly ambitious in my opinion when I created it, but it turned out to be more than I could chew. So the first thing was that I wanted to clean up some spam from the website one project, so I did that. Then I looked into another legacy code project called KCSC, yeah, the local support project, and I had one failing test, and the test framework complained that it was missing a key, an API key, and that pretty much was it. Didn't come more further than that, because other tests that were relying on that particular key did work, and others did not. Good morning, Piotr. How are you doing?
Yes, here. Okay, here I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me now, and
On the Twitch, for some reason, I don't see where is. Ah, yeah, because you're muted.
okay. Whew. But I thought perhaps there was something wrong with mine. Let's see if we can lower this and make sure that everybody else hears you as well. I'm coming down with a cold. Let's see.
Hard one, or?
Well, you know, it's something that I refer to as a man cold, which is typically for us men. When we get a slightest touch of cold, we think we're gonna die. So that's where I am.
I never associate myself with this.
You don't? Okay, then.
No.
Then your wife is one of the lucky ones, I guess.
in Poland, many these cabaret, this comedy shows are telling this story, but I never understood it.
Oh, okay. So it's a widespread thing in Poland as well. For whoever's watching, I'm Polish as well. Haven't lived in Poland since 1982, but I remember those cabarets. They were very popular. Where was it? Cabaret. They were quite political back in the days. I remember many of them. During the communist era, the cabarets served the purpose of doing a little bit of almost like subtle political agitation, without actually saying anything out loud, so the censors would stop them. That was very, very intelligent kind of humor, because they couldn't say too much because they wouldn't be stopped, and then but they did nonetheless make fun of the government. So
maybe there was cabaret, for example.
Yeah, that sounds.
But in the old days there were a few of them.
Yeah.
Now it's really
probably
a lot. Yeah. But they are not doing the political stuff only a bit. But now it's just a regular humor.
Yeah. We also have Pravan with us. Good morning.
Okay, Pravin.
Yeah, hi.
Hi. We are also live on Twitch, so I'm streaming on one computer only, so I can't share my screen here on the Google Meet uh, at the same time that I do that I have my Twitch. So if you want to see my screen, you're gonna have to log on Twitch as well. Okay, good stuff. Right. So before you came in, Piotr and Pravin, I was talking a little bit about the agenda, and today is the 26th, right? It's the 26th, right? So it's the 26th. Now, I was streaming yesterday. I got into a little bit of problems with one flaky test, and I did work a little bit on performance issues on Heroku yesterday with website 1, and I did kind of finish the cleanup PR for now, and I'm still getting. So I was working last night with this fixing failing tab content. I really thought I did it, but then I just made a fucking fool of myself, unfortunately. So that's what we're gonna talk about. But I will need your help with VCR today, Piotr.
Okay, I have to. I will be around. Just I have to change diaper to my daughter, but I'll be hearing you.
That's the spirit. That's good. Change the diaper, and then you get back whenever you can. Okay, good stuff. I have another thing. So legacy code is fairly interesting in my opinion, right? Let's see, legacy. Right. Sorry. So I actually have a slide deck on this at some point, and I'm not gonna go through the slide deck because we're not in training session. But this is quite telling in terms of how it is to work with legacy code. And this is a quote from Michael Feathers. Legacy code, the phrase strikes disgust in the hearts of programmers. It conjures images of slogging through a murky swamp, tangled undergrowth with leeches beneath and stinging flies above. It conjures odors of murk, slime, stagnancy and offal. Although our first joy of programming may have been intense, the misery of dealing with legacy code is often sufficient to extinguish that flame. And that, my friends, was exactly how I felt yesterday when I was working with legacy code. And that is how we will probably feel today. And so you wonder, why on earth would you even bother doing such a thing, especially on a weekend, especially when you have your day off and so on stream to bore people to death. Well, the thing is that I do believe that working with legacy code is an imperative skill set for every programmer, and as well for me. So every time I approach a legacy code base, I am challenged with putting my skills to the test, of programming to the test. It's not really, there's so many things that comes into play: programming, debugging, and all the different kind of skills that you have as a developer. So here we have a unique opportunity, or I have a unique opportunity together with you, of course, if you want, and that is the local support code base, and also the website 1 code base, both hosted on Agile Ventures. And both being Agile Ventures projects, and what they share is the fact that both of these projects are the longest running projects. I'm sorry about the coughing, but longest running projects in Agile Ventures history. And also, if you want to know more about Agile Ventures, don't hesitate to ask. We are a community of programmers that work online on projects together, quite often charity projects. So yeah, agileventures.org. It's free to join and free to collaborate with others. That's what we do. Right. So the question is, what should I start with? What is the lowest hanging fruit on this agenda? I definitely think that this thing is with fixing activity tab content, because we were getting a 500 error on this one. We should get into that. And I recently started a new Kanban board. I'm gonna go to website 1, projects, and I'm gonna create a new one, and I'm gonna do like this. This takes markdown. The data passed into the map is not formatted as JSON. Passed into the map from controller. It's not from the controller, right? So we're just gonna do this, and then there was something else. Yeah, I actually did this thing yesterday. So I actually managed to do quite a lot of things. So I'm just gonna document that I did that. So, users that has not logged into the app. So Piotr, how did it go?
So yeah, I managed.
I have 4 kids actually, but 3 that I lived with, and so I've changed quite a few diapers myself. So I'm just doing a little bit of documentation. So, you know, there was a Kanban board for website 1 created before, and it was cluttered with a lot of stuff, legacy, big time, you know. So I just closed that one and created a new one at the moment, you know. So so I'm just writing up some small things. I don't want to keep this overly detailed, like using Pivotal Tracker or anything like that, because it's a small thing at the moment. So yesterday, what I did,
you also talked about local support, right?
Yeah.
And my question is it used right now by?
Well, the thing is, that's a very good question. Apparently, it is. There is actually a project that we are running with a real non-profit that is. We are building a very small website, right? It's a Jekyll site, I think, or something like that. But we are embedding the map from local support into that website, and so we need that project to be up and running because we need the map embedded. You know, and we're apparently embedding it using iframes. You know, and stuff like that. I will show you because.
So basically, we just need the map.
Pretty much, and a little bit of interface, yeah. But we do need we need the No, we need the interface because there's some search functionality and some listings that needs to come with it. God damn it. So back to website 1 for a second. What I did yesterday, I simply cleaned up the damn thing. If you look at the projects from 12,000, not projects, sorry, members, from 12,000 members, we are down to 1,630, because the only members that are visible right now are those who have actually logged in to the application in the last 6 months, and that's how I want to keep it. I don't want to list massive amount of members that are never there, basically. So that's what happened. I ran through the sanitizer, and I just inactivated shitload of accounts. Sorry, but if you want to be seen, you have to go in there and activate. And I didn't remove anything, so I will send out an email to all users that if you want to activate your account, you can just go to my account, you edit it, and you say make profile public. So you just re-enable this thing, and that should be okay.
So Thomas, also I have one thing to say, that I probably can stay now until 9, and then I can work asynchronously on some tasks during the weekend.
That's very good, because then we can swiftly move into your area of expertise. Okay, so I'm gonna get out of this project and into the local support project, and I don't know if you have this code base.
No, I haven't configured it right now. I had it. Maybe I even have the old version.
It's really old, I guess. I have a PR pending. I will send you the link to that one. Let me just pull this up on the screen. It's very good that you said that you don't have much time, because you know how it is. I forget that people have lives and children. I'm very happy. I'm very
and angry wives.
my wife, she sleeps until like 10 o'clock on the weekends, so she doesn't.
My would sleep too, but that depends from the daughter.
Yes. How old is your daughter again?
She will be 5 months old.
Oh, that's so fantastic. That's so amazing. Congratulations again. So I just sent a link in Slack, perhaps privately to you. Oh no, I can send it in the. Are you part of the local support channel?
Yes, you've added me.
Yes, I did add you. Yes. So. Here's the PR. And as you can see, I've made a few commits here. There's quite a lot of stuff that needs to be done in this code base, because Travis recently retired the CI service.
Oh,
yeah.
But
so the Travis.org is retired. Travis.com.
Yeah. So what? So the old version is not working of CI?
No.
Uh-huh.
So.
Did they sell to somebody, or?
No. I just think that it's just I don't know what it is actually, to be honest. But what they say is that since June 15th, Travis.org is seized, and we have to use travisci.com from now on. So it won't build anything. The latest builds are from 13 days ago. So the latest submits are just simply not.
So it's not possible just to change the URL and continue?
I don't think so. I think the travisci.com is another service. Let's see. Right.
So is this running still on the Ruby 2.3.1? This local support?
I think so, actually. I would say So we're running on 265.
Okay, so this version I have.
And you would have to add me. So if you add me as a remote, then you will be able to push up directly. Oh, you know the drill. So I'm just talking more to the audience. So for a little bit dependent on the configuration of a project.
Can you repeat, because I just see that I cannot.
So if
Aha,
you
okay,
add,
no, it's just my local problem here with
Yeah.
permissions.
If you add me as a remote on your
Mhm.
local host, you can pull down my you can check out my branch, which is called test fixes. That's the
Sure.
one we want to use, or we want to work
Oh.
with at this point. And for you probably know this, but perhaps whoever is watching this recording might be curious about that. If there is a pull request pending on the upstream repository, and for instance Piotr is pulling down my code, then he can easily make sure to be able to push to that repo as a collab without having to create pull requests. So do you understand? So you would be probably able to directly push to my branch, which is a good thing. It simplifies things. And if you notice that your push is rejected, it might be rejected for the reason that I've also pushed something, you know. So this is fairly secure, because then you will know that, oh, I can't push because Thomas head has diverged in something. So you don't have to create pull requests. I see that Mike is with us. Mike, good morning. Piotr and I are looking into the local support project. How are you this morning?
Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning,
Mike.
Pedro.
Hello. Oh, I
Hello.
hear some child as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are my kids in the background. So I'm just running away from them.
So
Yeah.
Piotr just had to change a diaper, so you guys sit in the same room probably.
I hear some older children there.
My youngest is 7 years old. My oldest is 24. So I spread my
You have the full scope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike, I know we haven't spoken for a few, well, actually a week or two.
Over a week.
My condolences again. You know, I feel you, brother, and you are in my prayers. I hope you're coping with the situation.
Yeah. We are doing great. Yeah. Thanks for the support. Yeah.
Let's focus on other things. I know, Piotr, you're setting this up, running a few commands.
Yes, I nearly there. Just need to do a small cleanup.
And I know we should focus on the features, because we are a bit short on time. But I want to hear your guys' opinion. I just before you joined, Mike, and when you were away changing diapers, I was talking about this quote that touches upon legacy code, and I wanted to run this through you and hear your opinion. It's a quote that goes like this. Listen carefully. It's a long one. Legacy code. The phrase strikes disgust in the hearts of programmers. It conjures images of slogging through a murky swamp of tangled undergrowth with leeches beneath and stinging flies above. It conjures odors of murk, slime, stagnancy, and offal. Although the first joy of programming may have been intense, the misery of dealing with legacy code is often sufficient to extinguish that flame. That's that's a powerful statement.
It is true, but basically that's also where the developers are sometimes most needed.
Precisely my point. Precisely my point. I think so. This is taken from a slide deck that I use on my bootcamp, because I think that the ability to work with legacy code is one of the most important skills that a programmer has, right? It is easy, in my opinion, to start a new project and be all excited, Rails new, or, create React app or whatever, right? And start to, fill your Trello board or your PT board with the features, and you get a lot of done really fast, in the beginning of each project. The amount of code you can push out and the amount of features that you deploy is often very high. And then the more legacy it becomes, the more the code base grows, the slower your deployment is, and you don't get that much functionality out. But I also say that, look, guys, to my students, I say this: most of you, or 90 or 100% of you, will not be put on a team that will be working with a new project. You will be thrown into some deep shithole of legacy code as junior developers, and you have to sit there for like 6 months, a year, or 2 years, and fix somebody else's problems, basically. So legacy, reading code, debugging, understanding code. This is really important, in my opinion, and that's why I don't shrug in front of these challenges. I think it challenges me every time. Nowadays I have to work with website 1, which I haven't worked on for ages, and local support, also a project that I was briefly involved in 5, 6, 7 years ago, right? And I think it's quite fun, because it's also important, the other stuff that you are doing. So basically what I mean is that you are deciding if you really need to sometimes fix something, because maybe sometimes it doesn't make sense to fix something. It just makes sense to remove it or stop using it. And we're also doing it here, right? Exactly. So that's a good quote, in my opinion. What do you think, Mike? You're muted.
It's good, actually. My camera is on, so you could see me try to speak. I think legacy code. I think it's the best way to get in the deep end, and try figure things out. For instance, the issue with the map that I saw you post about in Slack, where you are trying to run the test, and probably the API key somehow expired, and or maybe something else is happening. Yeah. Maybe it's just flaky. Maybe it's something else. That's the problem. Yeah, so you have to figure it out. Yeah.
I have your branch, and I'm basically installing dependencies right now, so we can talk shortly.
Let me show you what's going on then. That's very good. So one of the, just so I understand or remember myself. So again, I was telling Pedro this before you came in. We need to set up a new continuous integration service, Mike, because why? Because Travis CI has ceased operations, so it doesn't work anymore.
Travis?
Yeah.
But yeah, so did you see how deep the changes?
No, I haven't. I haven't researched that yet.
Because it seems that they didn't cease totally, so maybe it's easy change.
Perhaps it is. And I'm just flagging that this needs to be looked at some point. I just haven't touched upon this yet. Let me just scroll down to the bottom, and I'm desperately trying to do that. Here we are. Right. So we have basically 6 failing tests, right? So let me just run one of them. Let's run one of them, and again, this is legacy, so it takes a little while to get it up and running. I did manage to fix some of the stuff based on your solutions already.
Mike's or mine?
You know, this is some of the stuff that you did on website 1 on the massive PR that we did the other month, right? So
Who's that?
that
Someone
was
is just
the cucumber stuff that we were dealing with, you know. So we got this. So Twitch live lover says, "Hi, Dad." Well, that's fantastic. I don't know if I have more children than I told you guys about. But well, hello, Twitch live lover. Hi, Dad. That's
I'm about to.
right? But hello, anyway. Right. Let's see. So these tests are basically for setting up a few volunteer opportunities and a few organizations and geocoding them, right? And the problem is, so we're getting this Google API error, request denied, basically, right? Some of them are passing, and that is the problem here, right? So let me just show you one thing that I am struggling with. If we go into app, we go to models, and we go to our base organization, you know, the domain model is really weird on this one. But I will set a binding pry here in check geocode because we are geocoding organizations, right? But I will also go into volunteer opportunity, and this one is geocoding on address complete, right? So we're gonna go to address complete. Where's that? Complete. There we go. Right, and I will set a binding pry here. Binding pry. Okay, so in the test itself, we have features, volunteer opportunities, and that would be the map volunteer opportunity feature, right? So we're gonna run the one on 26 and 27. It's a scenario outline, right? So what we are doing here, we have some background steps saying that there are some organizations with addresses, which means that they need to be geocoded, right? What the fuck? You are my dad when I chew milk from the cow that I never visit since the Queen Elizabeth went to the bush. Yeah. Right. Let's focus on coding. And so the organizations needs to be set up, and then on the next step we have the volunteer opportunities that also has addresses, so they also needs to be geocoded, right? And we set the binding pry in both of those things. And here's the weird stuff that I encountered yesterday, that if I run this now on 27, let's do that. That's the only scenario I want to run, so I don't want to run the whole thing.
Thomas.
Yep.
Will you please create a live share? I think my Twitch is really hanging and stuff.
Right, I can try, but if I get some weird issues with performance, then I will cease that. Okay, Mike?
Okay. Yeah, sure. That's fine.
Right, so here we are, right? On address complete, which is inside of the volunteer opportunity model, right? So self is now the animal care, which is this one, right? And I'm kind of surprised that this didn't kick in. This should have kicked in too, but it didn't. That's weird. So now if I just call geocode, and it does geocode this one. Do you see? It does return an array, and you know, on the first run when I when I checked self, it didn't have latitude and longitude. But now if I do self, it does have that. Do you understand? So we did a successful geocoding. Do you understand?
But did we call the API? Maybe it's just
well, that's the problem. I don't know. But so I don't know if this is a stub or not at this point. But so if we just do organization, organization last, and I was really okay. We can't do it from here. Okay. So if I quit this. And I quit this, and why would that be kicking in again? How many do we have? Right, and now he starts the server, but I'm surprised that these didn't get. I didn't hit that binding pry on for those. I'm really surprised about that, to be honest. And now it fails because, well, I don't get that. I didn't get that error now. What the fuck? This is different behavior than yesterday. Fuck. Base organization.
So, Thomas, this is one of the issues that we want to fix, right?
Yeah.
And what about the other things? Because yeah, as you remember, I don't have so much time,
Yeah.
and I can work later asynchronously on stuff.
Yeah.
So this one you will try to handle right now, right?
Well, actually, you know what? To be honest, if you would take upon yourself as a gentleman agreement to look into this thing, because I strongly believe that this one is connected to something that I know you know, which is the VCR thing, you know. And then I can deal with those map embeds for now, you know. And if you have like half an hour tomorrow morning, then you can jump in because I will be online tomorrow as well. And either you report your findings during the day on the VCR, or we can chat tomorrow. Would that be a
so? Yeah, sure. And so this is the cucumber stuff only for the specific one, or there are more failing cucumber?
Everything that fails at this point is related to this map volunteer opportunities feature, basically. All of them are
okay. And is it all basically the 7 scenarios? Is everything there is in this project?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Those are the ones that are failing now, basically.
Okay.
So
okay, great.
So that's it. And just before you go, the weird thing is that we have those are failing on this map volunteer opportunities. But if you look at the embedded map volunteer opportunities, they are, you know, very similar tests. And they are passing, but not because they are not exactly the same. Here we are actually passing in the latitude and longitude already in the step, so they are not geocoding them probably, right? So for some reason the geocoding doesn't work in test. But in my, you know, that's why I was so surprised about when I run this, that because what I wanted to show you that it was the thing that I experienced yesterday, that when we were geocoding an organization, that actually worked, and it didn't work on the volunteer opportunity. And if you look at the model, just, you know, I want you to take this with you, that there are big inconsistencies in how we deal with this. Do you understand? Like here we have a certain way of checking whether it should be geocoding or not, and we have a totally different, in my opinion, way of doing that check on the volunteer opportunity. And I don't understand the difference. You know, I don't know why the programmers would have, you know, approached this in a different way, basically. Do you understand? So that is a problem for me. But
Okay.
if you would
Yeah.
look into this guy, I would love it. You know,
I will do that.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Now off you go to your kid, you know, and your wife. Then send my love to Krakow.
Okay. So this is my mission for this weekend. But if you have something else, you can also tell me. Then I'll do it as the next thing.
I will throw stuff at you, Ed, but me and Mike will take a look at them. But I have some ideas, and I think we will prevail. That's actually not. It's a bit tricky, but it shouldn't be that hard for us to hammer out. To be honest, and yeah, that's about it. There's a few other things in website one, but I will post on I will post on Slack basically. Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
So, have a great day, guys,
You
and
too.
see you.
You too, Piotr. Trzymaj się. Cześć, cześć.
Cześć.
Right. It's you and me, Mike, as usual. Let me just fill up this coffee mug
Okay,
with
sure.
some coffee, okay? I'll be right back.
Okay, I'll step away for a second.
No, we're not going to close this project. We're going to go to develop. No. But it's going to be blocked. We're going to be blocked by some stuff. Well, actually, okay, so what we're going to do problem because I need these setups, these tests to work. Right. Damn it. Oh. Because so if Piotr works on this now, he will update these tests and no, but fuck it, right? We're just gonna comment all of this out now to be able to continue to work on this embedded functionality. That's what we gotta do. Right. So git comments out. We commented out not all of your speeches. what I can do now is that I can branch off from this one, and then I will be able to fix this afterwards by going back to develop branch, creating a new one, and then cherry pick the commits from this one, and hopefully avoid merge conflict. But yeah, I think so. So let's just create a new branch and say right. Right. So yeah. So hi, Mike. So
Hey.
actually, the problem now is that I need, you know, I created this branch called test fixes because I was having issues with running the project as it was when I pulled it down originally. So I needed in order to be able to work on the embedded map refactorings, I need this branch to be in the state, you know, or the code base to have these fixes. So what I did now is that I branched off from test fixes, and if Pedro works on this, then what I can do is I can rebase this against develop later, or create a new branch with the new code in, and then cherry pick some of the commits from what we would be working on here. So
Okay.
it's a bit of a shit show, but at least it will work. But let me tell you just a brief. I know you came in a bit late, so just a brief update of what I've been doing yesterday. First of all, me and Ethan had a long meeting about local support. And one thing, and you know, don't take this the wrong way in any way, Mike, but I told him, and the same thing that I will be telling you, we need to get into better grips of this project in terms of documentation. You know, we had this issue with you know, lack of documents in terms of the contract and all of that, but that's beside the point. What I had to spend like hour and a half, 2 hours, even understanding how these things are connected, you know, what is deployed to where, and all of that stuff. So we need to be a little better in taking notes and documenting stuff as we move forward. So that's okay. Now, what the problem yeah, another thing that I was working on, let's see if we can pull this up here. Right, so this is what I just asked Piotr to help us with, the tests that are failing with the Gmap API key. And we will work on this fix embed navigation pretty much today. But on website 1, I was working with performance issues in Heroku. I did a cleanup PR, which removed some unused code and removed some unused dependencies and all of that. Some of the shit that we have in the website 1 project. And I also did an inactive spam users cleanup that yielded some interesting results, because what I did now is that I run a query against the database, and that basically set the property of displaying a profile, you know, this setting, display, make profile public. I set this to false on every user that has not logged in for the last 6 months. So I didn't delete them. What I did is that I just set this attribute to false, which means that from 11 or 12,000 people, we are down to 1,630. So they were not active on the site for 6 months. I don't know if you were among them, Mike, but these ones.
I feel like I'm among them. No, but I have logged in a couple of times.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
So that's what I did, and also I'm starting. Reduce machine learning. Okay. Reduce machine learning. Good morning, is it better? Uh, right. Now we're gonna have to work on this list of projects in terms of UI, because this sucks big time, right? Like for instance, if I hover over this one, we have this very weird behavior. It makes it a little bigger or smaller, and then you know the formatting is off. So that was a bit of a shit show. I did go into the projects and kind of cleaned up a little bit of stuff. For instance, this list here, it contained some like DDD, this kind of projects, DDA palette. I don't know what that is. But this one is actually a valid thing, perhaps. But there was some other stuff that were outdated. So we need to bring this to some sort of an order. I deleted some obviously fake projects yesterday. We need to make a decision on the Jitsi and all of that stuff. So I don't know. But
Yeah. So about the projects, I think we were actually thinking of reorganizing how people create projects rather than having everyone just being able to spam us with projects. You will put a layer between the projects being displayed on the website and someone creating it. So they create, we review, then we approve, and then that's when the project has to be there.
yeah,
Because otherwise, you get people, advertisers just come and create
yeah,
projects of whatever it is they're advertising.
yeah,
Yeah, so probably that will be an additional functionality
yeah,
that we may have to have a look at. Yeah.
yeah. So we could add that. So I have this new Kanban board here.
Yeah.
Create approval or project approval flow. A new project should be approved by an admin before being displayed on the site. So one could say something like as site admin, site administrator, to keep the projects list free from spam. I like to I would be able to
Approve.
approve project, new project. I would be approve to make a decision.
Okay.
Make a decision on a new project prior to making it public, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. Could be, of course, reviewed and redefined, but let's have something like that here. Right. Right. So I was thinking that we would work on this because I fucked up yesterday big time. I'm sorry about that, but sometimes I get a little bit carried away. So this is something that I could have asked Pedro to work on. I'm just going to show you what's going on. If we go to the dashboard, we had some 500 errors on that, and that is because the activity feed, it was pulling out a few activities that weren't assigned to a specific user. So we got a nil exception on that. I fixed that, but in the process, I thought I was doing the right thing. Um, I will just show you what I did. Like in the dashboard view, here on this line, on line 83, we were actually making a call to the database, pulling out all the users and the statistics, right? And I was like,
Okay.
Jesus, and I wrote that. That was me 6 years ago, I think. And I was like, Jesus, that's shitty code. We shouldn't make calls to the DB from a view as a very basic principle of the model view controller pattern. So what I did was that I refactored this to make the same call from the controller, and just pass it down to the view, of course, which is the way you should do it. But let's see, where's the stats? Yeah, map data. Right, there is something like that. Yeah, this is the one that I pulled up. So this logic is extracted to the model. The problem with that was, and I just pushed it up because I was like, yeah, this is just a minor thing. So I was struck by hubris and I didn't run my tests. So what happens is basically that the map is not showing, of course, because we got on sources, right. So the map data is not formatted as JSON. You see?
Oh, so when it gets from
Yeah. I remember now afterwards what happened, because sometimes you do remember shit from 6 years ago.
yes, yes, yes.
When I was dealing with this, uh, I was like, I was fairly new on Rails, so I didn't know how to do stuff. But basically, you need to you need to parse this into JSON before sending this into the view, because
Mm.
if it's passed in as an object, then you end up with shit like this when it's being
Yeah.
parsed into JavaScript. So then I was like, okay, but I know how to fix this. So I thought I fixed this by basically yesterday by adding this thing to JSON.
JSON.
Do you understand? But what it needs to
Yeah.
say is basically I think we need to say JSON parse and then pass this in.
Yeah.
Uh, but I made a fool of myself twice actually, because first a few days ago when I just blindly pushed this up, and then yesterday I was really convinced that this will fix it, but it didn't. It actually made things worse. So
Yeah.
I need to uh, to fix this line of code, and it needs to go through the entire process and be pushed up to production.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one thing. But I will fix this during the day. Not sure that we need to deal with this now, because then we have to run those tests, and website one is pretty heavy on the testing. So I would rather focus on the local support project
Local support.
at this point, right?
Okay.
And it's not that so many people are using this functionality, so we can live for another 24 hours without the map. It's totally
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I actually now understand why we were. There was a different project being crafted called AV dashboards, because what that was going to do was to um, do a summary of these statistics on a separate dashboard, other than what we had here
yeah.
on the web.
I've seen traces of that project here, because we have something like AV dashboard tokens, for instance,
Yeah.
and we have this URL here. that is apparently dead. It doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not being dealt with in any way. But you know, and there are some tests for this. Even acceptance tests, which is a bit weird. But do you know anything about this project? I know that I think I've seen something about that in.
There was a Slack channel. I think you can find. Yeah. What happened is that we didn't kick off completely because the plan was to do it with Python and I
Right.
think yeah. They were thinking of doing it in Flask, so we will create our APIs with Flask and maybe get a front end JavaScript stuff to do the reporting. Yeah, but I think the furthest we went was just setting up the development environment and setting up the Docker containers
Right.
that will be used for spinning things up, or if you want to work on maybe a Windows machine or something.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
yeah, there was so not so much. We didn't have a customer for a while, so
Yeah.
without a customer, we don't make the correct decisions. Yeah.
Yeah. So I totally understand why you would like to extract that functionality. And in hindsight, I do understand why this was approved. So this is from 2018, and I know that
Hmm.
there was like there was this way of thinking that microservices is the way to go, and I concur in a way. Um,
Yeah.
the problem with spinning up projects like this, just as a side note here, Mike, is that you have this legacy code, the website one, and it's way too big, right? It deals with too many things. No clear strategy on what exactly it should do, and then based on that, you kind of think that, oh, we shouldn't have a monolith. We should extract the statistics to one thing. So you spin up this project, and I know that there was this website 2 project, or the API only thing, uh, and some JavaScript clients, like there was a attempt to create that. There was an attempt to create an API on the website 1 project because there was a namespace for API. So you see, the problem with this kind of things is as follows. Now, small projects are usually better to deal with, in terms of complexity, and they actually get finished. Like, um, statistics tells us that the bigger the project, the bigger the risk it is for it to fail in one way or
Yeah.
another, right? Okay, so I strongly believe that. So that would actually speak for microservices, because you would say that, well, we can have a smaller dashboard project, or a smaller API and a smaller client, and that would help us to actually reach a point where we have something that is working and functional and all of that stuff, right? So that's that's
Yep.
that's that's the good rationale. And there's another side note on this, that, well, not everything needs to be Rails, for instance, right? You can have the API written in Rails or Node, or you can have this dashboard written in Python Flask, or what have
Right.
you. So as a learning community, splitting things up into smaller chunks allows us also to give people an area where they can thrive and work on the technology that they like, and so on, right? And that
Yeah.
is a good rationale too. But there is a problem with this, right? That uh, that also needs to be taken into consideration. That if you spin up a lot of projects, right, that are making out an entire system, so what happens is, in my opinion, that you don't get the benefits of having small things working for you, but rather you just add to the complexity of the entire system, right? So this management, like the things that the website 1 was supposed to deal with, whatever that is, because that's also a matter of definition, becomes not a single app itself, but rather a series of apps, um, like that needs to be worked on. And consequently, the problem is that if people drop out in a setting like ours, let's say that somebody with key knowledge, key skills about Python, for instance, leaves the AV dashboard projects, or somebody that has been working on the website 2 API, takes a step back from the community. What you do, you end up with a lot of small projects that are unfinished, and you are further from the finish line than you would have been before, right? So
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that we we can all agree that complexity is bad, right? Too much complexity is always going to be a problem with every project, and so we need to find a way to minimize that complexity in one way or another, in a way that is manageable, basically, right? Uh, and that is also always a problem in all projects, and it's definitely an even bigger problem on in a community like ours that relies on volunteer work, one way or another. Now, we have this project, AV Dashboard. It is apparently abandoned because nothing has happened for 3 years, and yet we still see traces of that project or functionality of that project in our website one, the main site. Do you understand? Which adds to the complexity of this one. If anyone wants to go into website one and they go like, what the fuck is AV Dashboard? It's right here. You understand? And they don't know,
Yeah.
oh, is this relevant? Is this super important, or is this just a side thing because of lack of documentation? Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it becomes problematic.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's totally true. Because for instance, I think first we need to have like a single point of a single point where we get to access everything. For instance, like even the decisions about doing the dashboards and stuff. So um, when you access the website one, I think it should be the linkage to all other projects, if in case we have so many microservices. But then again, in the end also it doesn't make sense because yeah, people come, people go, and
Exactly.
people leave things hanging. And yeah, over my time here, we've started a lot of stuff with website one, like, oh, we need to redo the UI, or now
Yeah,
we are
yeah,
doing it in React, or
yeah,
something is too slow, now we have to try this other way. But then in the middle we just, yeah, we just let it go
yeah,
at some point, because you don't have a customer, and then at some point um, you just get bored being there by yourself.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's the leadership problem, right? In one way or another, right? Because we need somebody that takes this on and acts like a product owner, or a client, as you call it, right? And that was it's always been a problem with website one, from the beginning. Before you even joined, I was in the process of going through a lot of documentation, after being appointed to my position at Agile Ventures. I found I found some communication from 2016, and 15, that was, we were talking about the same things that we are talking about today. Do you understand? Which is
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
is fucked up, because you can't, you know, we can't constantly, we need to act one way or another. And the discussion was really the same thing. People were not in agreement on what this website should do, what functionality should we focus on, and so on. And I know that back in 2015, the other guy, that my predecessor, was saying things like, no, let's give it all up and let's just do a very simple static site that pushes out some information about.
One second, coming back.
Okay. uh, that was pushing out the information about the community itself, and uh, and nothing else, right? And I was like, yeah, sure, we can do that, but we also needed a project, an internal project to work on, and have our new members tap into and foster creativity, foster engagement, and so on. And the Website 1 project has been always a good starting point for many developers, and it is still. I know that we have like 15, 20 people joining the community every week, and many of them want to get busy one way or another. So this project is a good entry point for them to do that. Let's see. I see you're back. So
Yeah, this guy was. Come say everybody's friend.
let's see.
Say hello.
Oh,
Hello,
hello
ladies.
there. How are you? Hi, hi. What's your name?
Nala.
Once again?
What's your name?
Nala.
Nala.
Nala. Okay. Right. My
Yeah.
name's Thomas. How you doing?
You shy?
A
No.
little bit. Are you holding a pencil? A pencil
What's
is
this?
the mightiest weapon on Earth. You know, it's like magic. If you
Yeah.
if you learn how to read and write properly, you can achieve anything you want in life. You will be mightier than Harry Potter. Do you know Harry Potter? You see yourself now, don't you? That's awesome.
Yeah, she's making fun of herself.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I'm very happy that you have a good hand hygiene. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Say thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you, madam. Thank
Mhm.
you. All right.
Ah.
Good stuff. Uh, Now, I was saying that
Hello, hello, hello.
hello. Uh, Regarding the future, right? I was preparing this slide deck. Now, one thing that we should definitely look into is to split this up into at least two apps, in my opinion. And that would speak for this split that I was just talking about. That it could be positive, it could be negative. It all depends on how we handle things. But
Yep.
before we make any decisions like this, I would say, now I heard something. Right. Main features. We need to focus on what exactly is it that we want to focus on, right? And for me, it was always mainly about those things: community information, a member directory, a project repository, and event management. And if we would say in terms of prioritization, I would say that that event management is somewhere here, right? It's more important for us to deal with event management than it is to display members and display projects, right?
Yeah.
If I would cherry pick things, I would say the basic hello, we are Agile Ventures, here we are. That's that's um, um, that's one thing. And with community information, I would also add plus onboarding new members, right? This is really important. You know, we need to have a flow for people to sign up, to get invites to Slack, to get information about projects and events that will happen, and we need to get them started in terms of how they can grow as developers. us. This is definitely the main purpose of this website. And connected to that, you know, is the event management, which is basically planning and delivery, right,
Yeah.
of events, right, which is something that we have. The rest, the member directory and the project repository, is a little bit of cosmetics, to be honest. If I would choose anything between those two, I would also make a case that this one is more important than the member directory. Do you understand me, right? But all those four things, they are kind of connected to each other, in my opinion. Because let's say that you are a totally new guy or girl and you want to get involved in agile ventures. You want to find somebody or a platform for social coding because you don't want to be alone in all this thing. Then you need to have this community information, and you go like, okay, I want to get involved. Now I sign up and I go through all of that stuff, sign up for Slack. What can I do? Well, you need to push out information about the events. Okay, there are events, but is there something for me to work on? Well, that's where the project repository comes in. You can read about the different projects that are happening in the community and so on. And then you go like, okay, but I see that Mike is in charge of a project. Who the fuck is Mike, right? So I want to look up Mike, or I want to look up Thomas. And so you go to the project, to the members directory, and you can take a look at who is Thomas, who is Mike, who is this, and who is that, and and you know more about these people. But then there is this other aspect that, in terms of this event management, you know, we've always been working with Google Meets or Google Hangouts or live meetings like the one you or I are in at the moment. But the hypothesis is that that could be a big threshold. Not everyone wants to join a chat like ours. They want to be more passive, right? So that's where Twitch comes in, right? That's the lower threshold of engagement, or to become engaged. So one could almost say that you have live coding in meeting in Google Meet, for instance, but you also have live observing live coding on Twitch, right? So this is definitely relevant, right? And in my opinion, we should be doing all of this stuff in our application one way or another. A static website won't fix this for us, and I've always believed that, and I that was one of the schisms we had in terms of the strategy, because I thought that we should deal with this ourselves for those particular reasons that I just outlined, but also for the fact that it's good for us to have internal projects for new developers and new members to get involved in, right? And I still believe that. Now, what would one thing that would be good for us to consider is to create more projects around the community website, like you guys did with the AV dashboard or API client and all of that stuff. And I kind of outlined this here in my thoughts, because then we will have more stuff for people to work on and get engaged in, right? So some potential paths moving forward. On top of this list, I put this one down. Split the application in two. Have an API and a React or Vue client, for instance, right? That's definitely worth exploring. But then, if we don't do that, if we keep the monolith, I would say that project presentation, just to keep, we already discussed this today. It's a fucked up interface, right? So we need to clean this up. I gotta tell you that I've been dealing with events now for a month or month and a half, on almost a daily basis in website 1, and it's not very intuitive in my opinion. So we would probably need to look into that as well and clean up that interface. I don't think we need to do much because it's it's okay-ish, but it needs a little love, basically, on one hand. But on the other hand, it's legacy code. You know, those views are really complex. There's way too much complexity in this part of the application, right? Now, should we modernize the UI? I put down remove jQuery, for instance. This is really old technology. You know, the website does look a little, you know, to 2010 or 2015. I don't know. We should definitely look into that one way or another. But who knows? You know, is it worth it or you know?
Yeah.
So yeah. So there's a lot of things we can do, and a lot of decisions we need to make. Rewrite the acceptance test in another framework. I love Cucumber. I think Cucumber is fantastic, but I would also be able to take the advantage of seeing things visually, right? So I'm considering just a small thing, dropping Phantom.js and moving over to Chrome driver, so we can spin up a user interface during the development process, for instance, because it will help us a lot in terms of rewriting the UI and things like that. So that's
Yeah.
these are my thoughts about the whole thing, right?
Yeah, I think one of the most important bits that probably will also be top of my on my list is the report feature. Okay, she wants plasticine. Yeah. So I think the reporting feature is it's really important because it helps you make decisions. Since maybe I'll be back in 1 minute. Let me get something to distract me.
Absolutely, no problems. Uh, that's a very important thing Mike is bringing up regarding reporting. So I'm curious to hear what he wants to say about that. So um, what even though we are supposed to code, sometimes you need to talk, and I'm a talker. Apparently, I'm a talker. So what we are discussing is the strategy for a community website that we are dealing with. I am involved in this charitable organization that is called Agile Ventures, and Agile Ventures is a community of programmers that bring people together in order to basically grow as developers and as people, learn together and work on interesting projects, because we strongly believe that doing things live and getting your hands dirty in real project work is the best way to learn the craft of programming. And we do focus on agile methodologies, and we focus on a lot of different tech stacks. We come from a background of Rails developers, so that's where we kind of started out. But we have moved on, of course, many in different directions, many of us. And so if you want to get involved in Agile Ventures, it's of course agileventures.org, and you can sign up for this service and start to collaborate with us. And what me and Mike are discussing is the future of this website. It's been around for many years, developed by literally hundreds of people. I think that if we take a look at the project description here, we can see that we have we only have 14 members listed here now, because this is a legacy project. So many of the people that have contributed are not visible on the website because we just cleaned up that repository of our the members list. If you haven't been logged in for 6 months, you are not visible. Your profile is not visible anymore. So we definitely need to get Mike in there. But if we look at the at this list, we can see here that many people have been involved in website one development over the years, right? So meaning that there will be differences and different opinions and different coding styles and different approaches to many things. So we need to kind of clean this this thing up and make a few decisions on where we want to go from now. Right. But we will get into some coding later on, hopefully. But I need to take a very short break and fill up my my coffee. Will be right back. Mike, now I need to go for just a second, but because I need even more caffeine, I'll be right back. Okay.
Okay, sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Right. Where were we? No, so so yeah, we basically need to make a few decisions, Mike, and make sure that we do some stuff. And you know, at the end of the day, the way I see it, it's all boiling down to leadership. I've been through some of the discussions, you know, in all the channels, and you know, I can see that a lot of work has been you know, made in in many attempts to do a rewrite. But again, in the discussions that we had 2015 and the discussions that I know that has been going on over the years because I've been tracking, or I've been able to read through some discussions on Slack, and the things that we are talking about today are pretty much the same thing. It's the lack of strategy. What exactly are we focusing on? You know, and we are in a good, in my opinion, we are in a good state right now that we can start anew based on what we have, and basically, if we can, you know, if we can focus on these core features, right? The community information, the event management, project repos, or you know, project descriptions and member directory that are, in my opinion, connected to each other, then we can formulate a good strategy. It would be much easier for us to do that. And just a final word on this. I remember back in 2015, again, the other guy was saying that, oh, we don't have to do basically anything. The community information could be a static website, the event management could be done on Slack, the project repository could be done on GitHub, and the member directory is also a Slack thing or what have you. Do you understand? Uh, and I don't agree with that. I think that's nonsense. I think that every community needs a home, as every family needs a home, and every community needs a place where we can gather. And I think that this website can be that if we can create a clear, user-friendly interface to deal with all of those things that are, in my opinion, connected to each other. And so that is my main strategy moving forward, I would say. So that's where we are. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
okay.
I'm
No
home alone
problem. Don't
tonight.
worry about the background
Everybody
noise.
is. Yeah. Everybody has gone up country, so I'm babysitting much. But yeah, I think it's a great strategy. Um, yeah, we just need to get what to focus on, and I think the best thing that can happen to a project is us having a customer who knows what he wants or what they want, and probably these customers will be our users. Probably we can take status because we are also customers of the project. But then yeah, I think it's a great strategy just to have the community information in one place, and then get our event management going and project repository, like just as you said. And as I was saying about the data, I remember when we were discussing about starting the static website. We were like, oh, now we have like the projects feature in the application. How many guys use the projects feature? And off of our head, we could not just say like, okay, three guys created a project yesterday, and two guys are actually tracking whatever goes on in those projects, and people are joining these projects. So, do we need this feature or not based on the data that we have? About YouTube videos, how many people watch our YouTube videos? How many people stream? Maybe on Twitch or something. So, like, we needed I think we need something that can give us the data. Um, in the current world, I think people move away from having this as part of the transactional database. For instance, if we have like our the Agile Ventures website that has the transactional database. Probably people pull this data out into a data warehouse, and they get it they get it refreshed maybe every night and stuff like that, and do their visualizations of that separately. So I don't know if that could be a way to go.
I totally
But
so that addresses the architectural approach to things, and um, one thing that we don't have to lock into is the technical solutions to the problems, right? Now, what we do need, whether it's they need to be live updates or as you say, we can do things every 24 hours or 12 hours or what have you, right? In certain time intervals. But let's say that we are in a project meeting, you, me, and 5, 6 other guys that have been working on Agile Ventures for a while, right? And we ask people, how many of you uses the project repository to get information about projects? And we could get very low answers to that. Like I don't, right? Or just out of 5 people, perhaps 1 uses that. And if we base our decisions on that poll, I can tell you straight up that's wrong, because this feature is not built for us. It's not built for me, and it's not built for you or anybody like Piotr or anybody else. This feature is built for new members. Do you understand? This is something called that we often refer to in marketing or feature building. It's called social proof, right? You want to see, in our case, a project repository that is filled with 10, 15 projects that are active, that we can show our new members that there is activity going on here, right? Because if we can't do that, then the perception of this community being an active community where there's a lot of things happening becomes greater, and more people are become willing to invest their time and effort into this community and stop using that feature. Do you understand? You only use that in the beginning, then you find other ways to keep yourself in the loop and so on, right? Now, if this project repository is filled with 40 projects, one would think, oh, that's great, right? Because there's a lot of things happening. But then if you scratch beneath the surface and you see that 39 of these projects are dead, nothing is happening in that particular project, that social proof becomes negative, because you go on and say, oh shit, this is like a dead community, nothing is happening here. You understand, right? So these functions are not for if we talk about project repository, it's not for us. The member directory is also not for us. Nobody gives a shit after 2 months, 3 months, 6 months of working on Agile Ventures to look up people on the website, because we already know people, and we can interact with people on Slack, and you have built your network of people that you are working with and interact with. But if you're a new member, you don't know people, so that is also a kind of social proof feature that will help people to see that, oh, this guy is proficient in that, this guy is doing this, and and all of that stuff. So you see, my point that I'm making is that we can simplify everything, we can automate all of that stuff, right? But at the end of the day, these functions are not built for the people that are already sold on the idea of social coding, and sold on the idea of Agile Ventures. It is built for, these are features built for people that are starting out and that need that little push in the right direction. Does that make sense, Mike?
Yeah. Makes perfect sense actually, because as you said, if you poll amongst website one developers, you'll find that no one does use this stuff.
Right.
But as a new member, I remember I checked them out, and I just wanted to know, like, now this project, what is it about, and all that stuff. So
Right.
you make perfect sense. Yeah.
And so that has been historically a problem with our community, and it's not very, it makes sense also from the fact that we are a bunch of developers, right? And so we tend to make decisions based on our own experiences and technology, because we are not marketers, we are like engineers, right? So that is the thing that we do. In my opinion, the biggest reason for this website to exist is to attract new members and help new members to ease into live coding and mob programming and community activities, and that is something we can never lose sight of. But having said that, one part of our mission is to make sure that people can get involved, and so the summer camp is one way of doing that. Streaming is another way of doing that, and these two areas is where we work actively at the moment. Now, having internal projects with a project owner that can keep track of things and be and lead the development in the good direction is another thing. And therefore, I strongly believe that we should split this up into smaller chunks so that people can ease into working on this project one way or another. But again, having said that, I don't think we need to abandon the website one project. We can create an API based on this code base without having to create a totally new one, which I know somebody did. I think it was called Website 2, right? Or was it? No,
Yeah, well, I think
Website 1 backend API, right? I think that was the project. And there was a lot of work done on this one. GraphQL stuff, job mailers, models, right? So this is basically an attempt to create an API only application for this one, right?
yeah. So
Yeah. Right. This is like a lot of this code is taken straight out of the website one thing, right? This is not a. I mean, it's an attempt to extract things and not to really rewrite them. I recognize a lot of this code from the VSO code base, like this one, for instance. I mean, a lot of these things. Yeah. Right, include ISQ, right. Okay, well, but it was ultimately abandoned, wasn't it?
yeah, actually, when we started, we were doing like REST API stuff, and that development went on for a long while. And then at some point, when we decided to use,
To move into GraphQL.
yeah, that decision was made, I think, when we were going to use Gatsby, because Gatsby can display things with GraphQL. So guys decided that maybe we need to do GraphQL with this as well.
Right.
So yeah, but at the start we were doing REST API, and then later we moved to
To GraphQL and
but
Gatsby, right.
yeah,
Right. Yeah. I am I'm a very pragmatic person, so I like simplicity, and for me personally, but that's just me. I think that the RESTful architecture is actually easier to implement quickly, and GraphQL is great because it lowers the well, for many reasons GraphQL is great, but I would probably not have taken that path, but that's just me. Right, and then there is this thing, Ajamet's website, React frontend. Right.
yeah, and I think that that's actually the wrong link, because
It's called website 2, right?
let me just find.
Website 2, that was 7 months ago, content Cypress, static, right. And the source, let's see, what is that? That's doing, let's take a look at the package JSON. Oh, it's a Gatsby, right. Okay. Let's see, Mike. We can continue this discussion. Let's move a little bit into some coding. I need to take another 2-minute break. It's a bio break, so I need to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back if that's okay. And we can move in dealing a little bit with this embedded map. At least get started with it if you still have time. But I will be back in just a second. let's see if we can get some coding done. We have let's see, I am a great fan of running my tests in visual, but let's see if we can run this test. Cucumber features, and that would be volunteer opportunities, embedded map with form. As a member of the public visiting a partner site, so I can see where organizations with volunteer opportunities are located. I would like to hide and display sections of the page on request. Right. Whatever that means. The opportunities pop up when marker is clicked. Right. And the other one was volunteer opportunities. I would like to see an embedded map of volunteer opportunities. Right, so let's run this one. And then we're gonna set up another one. Another thing, right? We already set this up, I think. Let's see if this is working or not. Right, so we get a web deprecation warning from Selenium, but that's not a biggie so far. We can work with that. Right.
Hi, Thomas.
Hello. What did you do?
Yeah, I think this little girl is unwell. I think she's unwell because she's now. I think I just have to take care of her. She's a little unwell. I think that's why she's crying a lot. And yeah.
No problems. You take care, brother. And I will be working on this for approximately 30-45 minutes, you know. So, but I will be online back. I will be back online later tonight for the session that this afternoon. So.
Yeah, there's a session planned.
I think so, right? Isn't it? Let me just run through this test once and see where we are. I think we should have. Oh, we just left it. Right, so this one is actually working, so that's good. Right, and let's see, we should have a session planned for today. Okay. Right. Now my computer is acting up again. Events, upcoming events. Right, we have one called Weekend Collaborations at 6 o'clock my time, so it's 4 o'clock UTC. So I will be online for this one probably.
Yeah, I won't be around tonight. Probably I'll be on tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll see you tomorrow.
I see you tomorrow, brother. Take it easy. Bye bye. Oh,
okay, bye.
All
Say
right.
goodbye to Daddy's friend.
All right. Stay cool, brother.
Yeah.
Right. So let's see if we now in my support. So let's just do a little Pomodoro thing now, so we can get this thing started. Let's see, dashboard, read premium. Right, we can close this. We can go here and just get into working 25 on, 25 off. Right. bins. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Right. So I will be kind of muting myself. Not muting myself, but I will not speak that much during those minutes. Let's see. We have where is that? It's in support. Where's support? There it is. In this, and then we would like to write options. Right, Chrome driver. Right, so we can remove this, and we can open this one up. And then we say, and we can say before, and we can add a tag called visual do, and then we say capybara current driver, and that would be Chrome. Right. Right, so we don't do headless, but rather this. So if I now that, and we go to embed map volunteer opportunities, and we just add visual, and I think we can remove this JavaScript now, to be honest, but well, let's not remove it actually. And okay, let's see what this does for us. And now hopefully I will be able to spin this one up. Let's see if this works now, or if I get into some weird problems. So the step definitions when you work with Cucumber, they are slightly different on various drivers. So right, that should open up Chromium. No, it does not. Or it does? It does not. Why not? This should definitely open up. Well, did it with a volunteer? Right. Embed. Right. Oh. So let's remove this then. And register driver Chrome, right. Right. And so we could why JavaScript true, and what is JavaScript true being set or used? Right. So let's set the binding try here. Why is this not kicking in? Legacy code, people. Every change that you make to this project is becoming a pain in the butt. Right, so current Chrome is Chrome, right. So quit. And why aren't we? Why isn't this spinning up the Chrome driver? So Chrome driver is using Puppeteer, and Puppeteer should spin up. Right. This is not happening. Oh, because it's the Billy thing. Ah, fuck. Okay. It's because of the Billy thing. Right. And what is PG Billy doing? What is it? Fuck. Show me the Google Support. Register adapt. What the fuck is the PG Billy? Yes. Oh, it's the Phantom. Ignore. Right. Right. So we need to comment this one out. Right, what a fucking nonsense. So somebody has been riding on high horses. Right, again. Right, let's just do this. I need to spin this up. I need to see the user interface. Why? What the fuck? No, come on, dude. Okay, I'm clearly doing this wrong. Clearly we're doing this wrong. Okay, what's wrong with you, Thomas? Let's see. We don't JS errors. So we don't want to do this at all. We actually don't want to use the poltergeist at all. We want to, and we don't want to use this one either. Phantom.js path. So the only thing we're doing here is that we're ignoring SSL errors, and we have the proxy host. Right, so this might actually come into play, but we don't care about that for now. Proxy, right, ignore Billy configure, right, I don't know what this is actually doing. Let's just check out that thing. Puffing Billy Jam. What exactly are you doing? Rewriting web proxy for testing interaction between the browser and external sites. It's a webmock. It's like webmock but for your browser. Okay. I am not Google. Okay. Right. Right. This doesn't mean shit to me other than use well, but who cares about poltergeist nowadays? How old is this shit? No, this gem, sorry. Right. Okay. Capybara JavaScript rival equals Chrome, and then we just do remove this again. We go here and we just remove this and we remove right, quit. So let's run it again. Yeah, most of the features that we develop are not for us or for fellow techies. It's for new members, right? Non-technical people, and we should take that into consideration. Let's see if this actually works. I know that I had it working. Why? What? Really? Wow. My. What's going down? Right. Interactive debug. Selenium interactive debug. So. Right, just get the fuck out of here, right? We need to get rid of this. Get rid of this. Gonna get rid of this. asset host, asset server, format. We know that. Billy configure. Right. Billy browse, and then we want to select, right. Register driver select. We selected the driver. Oh. If. Right. Mea culpa. The fuck is wrong? We don't want to go in headless mode. But why would you say unless? Let's see if this actually spins up the browser or not. Right, there we go. Really? Right, let's run the whole thing. So you should see the map container element on the teacher. Alright, let's run the whole damn thing. So come on. Now we should see a little more stuff popping up. Yeah, but I should see. We're gonna run the other one called form. Right, and now we get some failing tests because of the fact that why? The info window. Right, and this is caused by us running this in headful mode, because if we run this in headless, then we are going green on this. So these are not real issues. So we want to run this guy, which is the embed map with form. This is not a problem. Well, it is a problem, but let's see what this does for us. I'm gonna take a break in 5 minutes, folks. Right, so now we can see. Right. Right. So volunteer 970. 97 elde the care. Right, the map should tell me. So let's see if we can. So right. How do we wait in capybara? Is this capybara? Is it sleep or? I think it's sleep. Right. So sleep. I want to sleep for for I don't know 1 second if capybara current driver equals Chrome, but I'm gonna set a binding cry here actually. Whoops. I'm gonna run this one. So the reason why I want to put this guy to sleep for a second is because I need the driver to catch up with loading the page. Which is also something we could deal with a totally different way, not just arbitrarily sleeping for a second, but rather checking if the driver has finished loading. There is at least in Puppeteer there is a setting for network action, but I guess sleep will do for now. It doesn't stop yet, but it will stop soon, perhaps. There we go. Let's just see if this evaluates true. Right. Good stuff. Right. So let's quit this. Unable. But we do have market data. We do have market data. Or don't we? Right. It's time to take a little bit of a break. I need to hook up the little guy with some breakfast. I will be back in a few minutes. Let me just start this. I need to rethink this whole setup because it's I mean, it shouldn't take a minute to start a test. It's not. It's not acceptable. Right. Market data. Page 5. But where is that market data? Where is that market data? Well, anyway, I was supposed to take a short break. I need to fix breakfast for the little guy. 11 steps, not cheese. Market data. Map steps, event steps. Right. Right. Map canvas. Hey! How you doing, Jim? How's life? Stick around for a few minutes. I need to make a sandwich for the little guy. I need to do that. I'll be right back. Okay? Hey Jim, how's it going? I'm back. Just had to fix a bit of breakfast for the yes. So I'm working a little bit on some legacy code, and that's this melody of today. That's the thing. As developers, we sometimes need to dive into old code bases, and I am trying to find some stuff here with my testing framework. Market data is nil. We can't find this, I guess. unable to find visible. Right. So what is page? Page body? Can we do that? Right. That's so true. Old and bad code are the only reason I have a job. I think I'm going to quote you on that. I think I'm going to quote you on that. So I have this. See, you probably know that I run a boot camp. So I have this presentation. No, here it is. I have this presentation for for my students because we do deal with legacy code in our training, because I strongly believe that being able to deal with legacy code is an imperative skill for any developer. And so as a training institution, we want to prepare our kids to, when I say kids, I mean, you know, they are adults, but I refer to them as children. We want to prepare them for that kind of work. And so we have this challenge where we throw some legacy code at them, and they are supposed to cover it in tests and add some new functionality and all of that stuff, right? So we always start our presentations with quotes, and there's this very long one that legacy code, the phrase strikes disgust in the hearts of programmers and conjures images of slugging through a murky swamp of tangled undergrowth with leech beneath and stinging flies above. It conjures odors of murk, slime, stagnancy and offal. Although our first joy of programming may have been intense, the misery of dealing with legacy code is often sufficient to extinguish that flame. So that is the quote that we start that presentation. And another one is, you know, to me, legacy code is simply code without test. But now, from today, I can tell you that these students will also be exposed to your quote. It is a good quote, but now will Jim from Canada, and I will so I will use your saying here as a quote. It's gonna be fantastic. It's gonna be fantastic. People will love it. So you made it. Oh yes, of course. Banks or I think we had this discussion at some point. You know, banks are particularly exposed to bullshit code. And again, it pays the bills. I know I know of a guy that he was a COBOL programmer, and in the early 80s, late 80s actually, early 90s, he was a bit out of fashion, out of job, because they were, you know, the systems were pretty mature and so on. But then internet happened in the 90s, and in the second part of the 90s, he was like extremely in demand. So from 1996 until his passing, he passed away earlier this year, unfortunately, he was swamped with work, and he charged like 120, 130 euros an hour, and that's approximately $135, $140, and he was on like 120%, you know, invoicing billable hours a month, approximately 200 hours or 180 hours a month. So he made a killing. He was really happy. Right, so I am getting into a very weird situation, right? Because if I run this test in headless mode, which would basically mean yeah, why not? Cobalt would be nice. No, I would no, I wouldn't say that. I don't know. I don't think so. Right, so right, so if I run this, it's cobalt, no cobalt, no cobalt, I think. It's I don't think so. Well, I know that a lot of Swedish banks still use it, but and I guess there's a lot of work. I think that Capgemini was advertising for some developers recently, but I wouldn't do it myself. Let's see. Where am I? Right. So now I run this in headless mode, and without spinning up the browser, this might actually pass, which is really annoying if it does. Oh, oh yes, you were a few hours behind me, right? You had a nightmare, and now you ended up in this nightmare. Congratulations. Legacy code is a nightmare. You know, a swamp. No, but I feel you, brother. You know, if you watch this for a few more minutes, you will get tired and you will fall asleep again. This is a good sleeping pill. Right, here we are, and the current driver is Chrome, right? Yeah, and so we do this. Really? You can't find visible CSS. What the fuck? But we did. Right. Oh, this is worrisome. Because it did pass for me before. Hold on a second. What's going on here? What's going on? Let's run the whole thing. I mean, you know, I could always spin up the server and I could work my way through that way. But I'm desperately trying to stick to the process of testing my stuff. Carmone Jane just got into Agile Ventures and registered. Thank you for that. Let's see. Now we're running in headless mode, so there is no browser being spun up for us. Or is it? Well, what the fuck is going on here? Oh God. Not much new, to be honest. I'm on a kind of vacation. I just finished up a course, a course delivery, you know, this bootcamp thing, and now I'm I'm kind of free, kind of, not really. But yesterday we had midsummer celebration in Sweden. That's a big thing. So that was fun. Good food, good company, you know. But just life is slow. Life is slow. I have a few new projects, potential projects. I've been invited to become a partner in a new company, but I haven't made up my mind yet, and so on. So let's see. I have a few. By the way, if you want to drop in and say hi, Jim, we do have a live link open. Don't hesitate to just pop in and chat away. Let's see, where was it? Where was I? Where was it? In this one? No, this wasn't. Let's see if I have some issues with this. It's been a while since I've used this kind of testing strategies, so I need to check out some of my old code. Right, and I know this one is using Cucumber. User features, stuff definitions, message interaction steps. Message interaction steps. Let's have a look here. Sleep, chatting, native, send keys, input native, find. Right, so why would he say just find? Why would he say find? Really? And this one is saying page.find. But that's, I mean, that should be the same thing, right? Right. So oh, sure thing. Right. Fine models. Right, I mean, markers data equals. Right, so let's just, hey. Good morning, Jim. No? Hello, good morning, Raisin. How you doing? Jim was trying to access our live chat, but something went wrong. I don't know if it's me or you, Jim. And how are you doing, Raisin? How's Portugal? We have a tropic night last night, I think. The temperature didn't went down below 20 degrees. That's amazing. That's global warming for you. Not sure what's going on. I am doing some legacy code stuff today, which is like watching your laundry dry. Jim has trouble sleeping, so I told him to stick around my stream for a while, and then he will probably fall asleep faster. Let's see if we can get him on board here. Hello, Canada.
Oh, hey, hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm just lying in bed and watching your stream.
Yeah, I was telling Pedro here that Raisin here that if you have trouble sleeping, watching my stream will help with that. Probably.
Yeah, I tend to not sleep when I'm thinking, but it's all good. It's all good.
That's good. That's good. So it's 5 a.m. right? So you were 6 hours behind me. It's 11 o'clock a.m. at my place at this point.
Oh, okay. Okay.
West coast of Sweden, you know. So you must be on the what is it? You're on the east coast of Canada, or where are you?
I'm in Toronto.
In
So
Toronto.
yeah, it's mountain time. Same thing with New York.
Cool. I hear great stuff about Toronto, and I hear good things about Canada. All in all, much better than you. I mean, you're more like us Europeans in terms of your, you know, the way your society works. You know, in comparison to America. America is so weird. I mean, United States is so weird in many aspects. Canadians are. I mean, you take care of you people. There's no debate about healthcare, is it? In Canada, you pretty much have universal healthcare as we do, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. I think we all believe in most of us believe in science here in Canada, much more than the U.S.
Right. 80 million, no, 74 million of them didn't. But fortunately 80 million did. So, I mean, the election was a thriller in many ways. And you know, one could argue that a country's election is their internal business, right? But the US is such a big player internationally, so it does affect everybody else who is at the helm. And the other guy was entertaining at times. If you want to find something positive to say, I think entertaining.
He was extremely entertaining. Like literally every single week would be something ridiculous headline.
Yeah.
That you thought wasn't real, but it actually is.
Yeah. I love the genius thing, you know, that he could. I mean, Kofefe or whatever, right? The slip on Twitter once in.
Yeah.
And but also this, what was it? TV person, you know, that he could repeat 7 words. I mean, oh god, it was so funny. Yeah, but it's good that he's gone. The problem is that people are still thinking that. I mean, they still debate whether this election was, you know, fair and square or whatever, you know, and that's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
they should move on.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Yeah. I feel like the diversity of thoughts is much more on a spectrum in the US than it is in Canada, where everyone kind of believes in the government and trusts the government. I think that's kind of the core difference. Yeah.
So you know, we all have our share of problems, and I would say that, you know, democracy is a work in progress, always.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
And so, whatever we take for granted today, we should expand our views, right? Like, you know, we should move the boundaries of or push the boundaries of democracy and engagement and you know, social equality further, always, right? Whatever we fought for yesterday, we achieved today. Tomorrow we need to set new goals, right? But the problem that I see in the United States is, you know, as an observer from the outside, is that they don't expand their democracy. They kind of shrink it, right? With all this shit going on, in various states, like Georgia, Arizona, Texas, when they impose those new laws to restrict how you're supposed to vote, that is taking a few steps back, not moving forward, and that is really really weird for me to see, but also potentially dangerous. So no, it's weird. It's really weird. Right, so I'm running into a lot of issues on this guy. What I'm doing right now is that I'm trying to switch into a different driver when I run my tests that is more visual, that uses the Chrome browser, because I believe that, for many reasons, we should run our tests in the environment where they will be actually existing, and Chrome being Chrome-based driver browsers are most popular. That's one thing. But now I'm running into issues that the things that I'm looking for on the page are simply not there, and I'm getting a very cryptic error message. It appears that you may be passing in a CSS selector or XPath expression rather than a locator. Please see the documentation for acceptable local locator values. I have no fucking clue what that means, to be honest. So that's a bit of a shit show. But you're not that much into web applications, or
No, I am. I am really into web dev. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. But so let me ask you, how are you on testing then, if you're into web dev?
That's actually one of my weak points. I'm very lacking in testing knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah. The testing I do is more like, does it appear like I want it to, and does it function like I want it to? I don't have like a suite of tests that I run to make sure that things didn't break when I add a new feature.
Okay. So there are many different approaches to testing. Like, I sometimes practice test-driven development, which means that I really stick to the flow, meaning you write your specification, you start running the spec, and you see it fail, and then you implement step by step, solutions to make it go green, basically, right? That's a very strict workflow, and it kind of helps me in many ways, but it can also be a bit of a pain in the ass, of course, because sometimes if you don't have a good requirement or a specification to what you're supposed to work on, that defines the scope and all of that stuff, you sometimes experiment, and then if you do, then it's kind of hard to write a good test up front. So that's one thing. So that it all depends on the project. If people that are in charge of writing up the requests have done a good job, so I, as a developer, I know what I'm supposed to do in every request, then it's kind of easy to work with test-driven development and use automated tests for that. But if they don't, if there is a wide scope or very loosely scoped feature, then you kind of have to experiment, or see, you code wherever your thoughts takes you, and then it's very hard to keep the TDD approach. But then, so if I don't do that, I always test afterwards. So I write up a little bit of code, and then I say, sorry about that. Let's try to write a test for it to see if it actually does what I'm supposed, what it's supposed to do. Mostly for future reference, as you were mentioning. Like, if I introduce some new functionality later on, I don't want my code to break, basically.
Right.
But for just as a thing, like for web application tests, I would say Cypress is I know you've probably seen me do some Cypress testing. This is the de facto best solution today to use if you work with anything web related, because it spins up a runner like the one you see on screen right now. You can see the screen, right? And so you can interact with this. You can write good assertions. It's easy to set up, easy to go, get started with, but quite powerful. So it has a lot of great features. So the people that created Cypress did a very good job in combining the best from different other testing frameworks like Mocha, Chai, Jasmine, um, and some others, Karma, I think they're called, but packaged it in a very nice interface and so on. So I would definitely, if you want to go into testing of interfaces, Cypress is the way to go.
I will definitely look into that. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I have some. There's something on my YouTube channel, I think, because I've done some very basic Cypress workshops before, So, but if you need any help, just don't hesitate to reach out. I can.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But but in this case, though, we can't use Cypress because this is a full stack Ruby on Rails application, legacy code, as we already mentioned. Some code that is written here is from 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and so on, right? So
I see.
yeah, so this is real shit, to be honest. And again, so what I'm trying to do is to implement a kind of Cypress-ish interface to testing. So I'm using Chrome driver or Puppeteer, which is a framework to programmatically control a Chrome browser to spin up my acceptance tests. And now I'm running into some issues with that, unfortunately, because I don't know why. I really don't know why. And I don't know if I'm gonna continue this because I've been streaming for 3 hours, made very limited progress. We did have some good discussions. I had some community members coming in, and so that was good. But in terms of writing code, I don't think I've made good progress. But it's one of those days, you know how it is.
Yeah, definitely.
Sometimes. 100%. I know that I've made the push for this already, but I am running I'm a member of this community called Agile Ventures, so I will be back online at 1800 my time, which is 4 o'clock UTC, which is probably, I don't know, 10 o'clock your time, if you're 6 hours behind me, something like that, to do some more coding today. But right now, Jim, you're gonna have to take a sleeping pill or watch the recording. But before you go, let me just, I will just try to find a Cypress thing, because if you have problems sleeping, then this is definitely a good thing. Let me just see if I can.
By the way, I wanted to ask, how did you learn English so well?
Once again?
How did you learn your English so well?
Oh, thank you, first of all. Watching a lot of movies, I guess, and talking a lot. So here's the story. Like in Sweden, we do not. We subtitle everything on TV. Do you understand? So in Germany, for instance, and in many other, like France and many other European countries that are not English speaking, what they do is they dub. So they put like a local actor's voice over the original voice of which is really weird. When I was,
it is, yeah.
Sometimes it's just like fucked up. You look at when I was a kid, Dallas was a big thing, right? A TV show. And when I was in Germany once, I saw the main characters speak German. You know, it's so fucked up. You know, why would they? And Raisin says that in Spain they dub everything as well, right? So you can see some characters of your favorite TV shows talking Spanish instead. Now we don't do that in Sweden, which means that you are constantly exposed to English when you watch TV and everything, right? And
Oh wow.
and it's easier for me to, but we subtitle, but you can turn off those subtitles nowadays, right? And so my kid, he's 7 years old, he understands English nowadays because, you know, he watches TV and he watches different shows and so on. So it's easier to pick up the language. But then again, besides that, it's just you have to use the language, right? You just have to speak. And I always been not very shy, so I just, you know, kept on speaking basically, you know, and I guess that's why I picked it up. But I also lived in the US for a while, back in the 90s. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, I was in I was in Aspen in Colorado, and stayed there for 2 years. So it was kind of fun.
Nice.
But I was young and I was in my 20s, right? Let's see. Where is that? Come on. TW2. Right, so I found a link to a recording that I did on Cyprus. So that would definitely put you to sleep. No, I'm kidding. But if you're interested in that, there's something again heavily wrong with my computer now. I think I'm running out of memory.
Yeah, I was gonna say you have laggy internet.
Yeah, what the fuck is? But I know what it is. So at work I have 2 computers set up. So I stream from one computer and I code on another one. And here at home, I don't have that set up. And you know, I'm down to, let's see. Well, it says 3 gigabyte internal memory, but that's not true. I think I'm running totally low on. Sometimes I'm down to like 100 megabyte or something, you know. So.
Oh damn.
Yeah, but anyway, I will. Yes. So I not only do I stream, but I also do deliver a lot of lectures online in my work. So in order to be able to do things, you know, with good quality, I need those 2 computers set up at work.
Right.
And I have a laptop with Linux installed here at home as well, but I haven't. I'm considering setting up something similar here, but I already have like 3 monitors, and my wife thinks I have too many tech stuff. But it's my room, right? Isn't it? It's my man cave, so she should stay out of it.
Well, you're a tech professional, so it's understandable, right?
Right. I mean, I have a reputation to maintain.
Yeah, exactly.
Raisin, I do need a capture card. I have a Elgato HS
All right.
something.
Let's see. Here I am.
All right,
and
that's
we
me
will be
talking
doing
on the,
some
on
more
the stream, so I should probably kill this.
some more.
Right. No. So yeah, I have a capture card for that Elgato something SHD 60S something. I don't recall, but it was tricky to connect my MacBook to the PC. I managed to do it. Then I was supposed to switch office rooms, you know, so I had to disconnect everything, move my computers, and then reconnect everything. And of course, I didn't document how it was connected in the first place. And during those 15 minutes of, you know, switching rooms, I forgot how to do this. So I had to spend like 3 hours to you know, rewire everything. And so yeah, I should document better. Lesson learned. But But one would think that I've learned something from that experience, but I didn't, because now I've connected everything and it's on my to-do list to document the setup, but I haven't done it yet. I will at some point. Anyways, guys, Elgato is good. Raisin, Jim, thank you very much for today. I'm gonna call it quits right now. I posted the link to that YouTube recording if you're interested in Cyprus. And I wish you a good morning and a good day. And I see you. I will be online in a few hours again, and tomorrow morning I will be back here for my morning sessions as well. But have a fantastic day, guys. Take it easy.
Cool. You too, man.
Thanks.
Take care.
So long.